Welcome to Storycomic Presents, where we interview amazing storytellers and artists. This is episode 499. I'm your host, Barney Smith of Storycomic.com, and we're excited to have back with us the internationally acclaimed and talented comic creator, Samuel Vera. Sam.
Hey, what's up? Internationally acclaimed. I'm doing good.
Right, yeah.
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah. So you've been on the show a few times. I'm checking out the background. You have been on the show. I'm just gonna like type in Vera here. Yes. Oh my goodness. I was totally right. You were already on the show twice before. So
was I?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm losing my memory.
So it was, well, one was in 2022 and the other one was in 2023. So only about 3 years ago were you on.
Wow. 2022 and 2023. Time goes by.
Can you remember 2023 was 3 years ago now?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Time goes by so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know it. So yeah, I remember you were on talking about There's an Alien in My Toilet Volume 2. And that was like you're pumping them out once a year almost. So yeah.
Yeah. Issue 8 actually comes out this summer.
Jeez. Wow. Okay. Good for you, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. And you were on, and so we were, you've been on before and we really started talking about like duty. There's an Alien in My Toilet, which is you're working on issue 8 now. Is that possible?
Yeah. Issue 8 is, I'm halfway through that. I launched it in the summer on Kickstarter. So that's fun. I launched 7 was last summer. And then in the fall I did Forbidden, and now I just launched CosmicWars about a week ago.
CosmicWars, and that's just the book that is like, as of this recording, is now available to pledge, and you've already almost doubled your pledge goal already, and you still have 20 days left.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm excited for this one.
And talk to us a little bit about Cosmic Wars. What is this all about?
Well, Cosmic Wars, the entire story centers around the Arthenian Star, and it's this gem that wields a tremendous power, and the responsibility to keep it safe falls on the shoulders of the kingdom of Crystalia. And there's one protector guardian. His name is Gorf, and he is the protector of that kingdom. And so where it starts is Gorf is in exile, self-inflicted exile, because there was a great battle over the Arthenian Star, and the king of Crystalia fell in the great battle, and Gorf blames himself for not getting there on time. So he went into exile, not realizing because he's ashamed that he actually put the universe at risk, because now it opens up the playing field for all of the most the evil players in the game that want possession of the star. And by proxy, Princess Reina becomes the ruler of Crystalia, but there's never been a female ruler. So now she has challenges because allies are hesitant to follow a female. And now Lord Evil believes that she is weakened now without Gorf and without her father, and because she's a female, he feels this is the right time to try to go and take over the throne. And also there's a pirate overlord named Zarkinar who has his own plans to try to get in possession of the star. So she believes that she needs Gorf, but her captain of the Royal Guard, Captain M3, does not. He thinks he's a has-been. He doesn't want him involved. And so he says, we can do it ourselves. We can protect the kingdom. She knows otherwise, so she risks everything and she heads off into the middle of the abyss in search of Gorf to try to find him and convince him to come back and help protect the gem before it's too late, the star and the kingdom of Crystalia.
And so how much of this world building actually happened before you went, pen to paper, and how much of this kind of like evolved as you wrote it?
It all was created before I put pen to paper. So I spend most of my time world building and with character development and creating the backstories and the profiles for each of them and giving them all history. And there's a lot of fantastic characters in this series. And so I started there, and I had a character design first. So at 12 years old, I created, his name was Scrungy. Gorf's name was Scrungy at 12 before he became Gorf. And he looked a lot different at 12 years old. He looked like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Alf. If you put them together, that's what Gorf looked like. And so when I started writing Gorf's story, I wanted to make him a hero. And the title Cosmic Gorf came from, I was influenced by Too Close for Comfort. The father was a comic strip artist, and he had a comic book called Cosmic Cow. So I was like, I want a cosmic hero. And so I created Cosmic Gorf, and I changed his name from Scrungy to Cosmic Gorf. And then I was like, well, he needs to be a hero. And at that time, my mom used to read all those fantasy Fabio books with the long, luscious hair. So Gorf's hair is a direct reflection. It was influenced by Fabio's hair. And then Gorf's posture, I used to watch Conan. I was a big Conan fan. So, I wanted Conan with the big sword and the hero. And then, so that's where Gorf came. So I wanted him to be pleasant in the eye to all generations, but I also wanted him to look like a hero if you looked at him from a distance. And so that was what the influences there. And then he just evolved over the years. And when I said I wanted a hero, I said, okay, so what is he there for? What's he protecting? Who's he protecting? Why is he protecting? And then I started building from there.
And so this is basically science fiction. What kind of planets do you have?
Oh man, I have to read off the planets. I don't remember at the top of my head, but we have a lot of it. We have the Kingdom of Crystalia. We have a lot of different planets. We have a lot of races. We have the Crimson, which are ice creatures. We have Lord Evil, who lives in a certain sector. You have Zanzarax. Zanzarax and Professor Ramses are brothers, but they are both on the opposite ends of the line. There's Empress Nani. There's Zap. Zap aspires to be like Gorf. He wants to be a hero like Gorf. Gorf is his hero. So he's a youngling, and he will do anything to try to win Gorf's favor. Then you have Commander Rox, who is the commander of Lord Evil's army. So it's a lot of different fun characters in this story. And if you ask me how the names came, I can tell you I don't know. It just popped in my head as I started creating the stories. And sometimes I feel like I'm being channeled by somebody who never finished writing a story in another realm, and they're using me as a funnel to tell a story.
Wow, it is gorgeous. Look at the artwork you have on here. So we're looking at how can our listeners find this artwork?
Well, right now it's on Kickstarter, but the book will be available after Kickstarter's over. So I don't have any sample. You can go to my social media. I put samples out. I put a lot of time lapse also on my YouTube channel, The Art of Samuel. So you'll see a lot of time lapse drawing. You'll see I usually go on live drawing sessions. So you'll see that. But all the art is available on this Kickstarter right now, and it's running for the next 20 days or 19 days, and so you can see it there as well.
And is this a one-off, or is this the same? Is this a series, a limited series, or?
It's a series. So This is introducing this to the public now for the first time. A lot of great feedback on it, and this will continue at the end of the duty run. So I'm introducing it now, and then issue 8 of There's Something in My Toilet comes out this summer. And based on the reception from this, will determine if I release the second follow-up in the fall or issue number 9 of There's Something in My Toilet. So I have great expectations for this. I'm having so much fun drawing it. It's my best work yet. I'm putting in all-nighters with this one, and really want to capture the imagination of every reader who picks it up.
And so, as you mentioned, kind of with duty, because you're on before, we'll talk about There's an Alien in My Toilet. Is this the same universe? Are the characters that are from duty, is that alien species
connected
at all?
Glad you asked that. So, Duty and Gorf, they do have ties. So, in the Designated in My Toilet Christmas special was the first time you saw, the first time in a comic book form you got introduced to Gorf, because they meet on a planet at this like restaurant type pub at a planet, and they're talking at a table, and that's when their first interaction. In Designated in My Toilet, if you've been reading Designated in My Toilet, you'll see there's a poster in Bobby's room of Cosmic Gorf. On one of the covers, there's a silhouette of Gorf on the cover. And if you've read Duty's Monsters, Gorf is a player in that series. So I did a book, one shot of Duty's Monsters, where Duty's back on his home world, the planet Uranus, with his buddy Cheeks. They're in class and they want to go on another adventure. and they find out that citizens of the planet Uranus are disappearing at the hands of this mythical creature named Cthulhu. They don't know what a Cthulhu is. So they go off, half baked, and they go off an adventure to go and confront this Cthulhu. This is where you really get introduced to Gorf. So yes, the universe, they're not in the same, but they intersect, and Gorf has a role in Duty's life, and you'll find that out in Duty's Monsters issue number 2, at the end of issue number 7, there were 3 alternative covers, variant covers, with all 3 alternate endings, and Gorf was in one of the alternate endings.
Well, hey there. If you're enjoying our podcast, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep this show going. We love hearing from you, so any feedback is welcome. And thank you for being a part of our podcast family and for all your support. It truly means a lot to us. Right. So, writing There's an Alien in My Toilet and actually getting that artwork in there. And did this help you get the confidence to be able to put together Cosmic Wars in a way that you felt ready for?
Yeah. So if you look at the difference between Duty and Cosmic, my style and my art, my craft, I've matured. And so my attention to detail with Gorf is a lot more focused. Duty is a lot more loose and cartoony, where Gorf has a lot of fantasy elements, and I want to capture the mood of the scenes and the emotion in it. So I really focus on what's happening, facial expressions, body language, posturing, the lighting, the materials in the background. So I really spend a lot of time with this one. So Duty helped me flex those muscles and train myself. And one of the things I did, I spent, when I first moved to Texas from New York, I spent that first year working on speed, and being able to thumbnail and flesh out a page at a specific rate. So this allowed me to get to Gorf and produce it at a pace that it allows me to meet my deadlines.
I know, and so how has we mentioned that your art style has significantly been, as you say, the lines are a lot tighter. But what about like your storytelling skills? How has that been?
Definitely matured as well. I think there's a lot more. I think for me, even when I pulled Gorf back out from the abyss and I wanted to redo it, looking back at what I created years ago, I was able to go back and plug holes in this, flesh characters out a little more, add some more elements that were missing that maybe created more questions than answers, really added value to it. And so I think that, and because I love the character so much, I felt I had an obligation to make it as appealing as possible, especially in a market where it's its own lane. There's no lane right now. Everything is specific. You can categorize everything in comics, and then Gorf creates its own lane, right? So it's different from what's out there in the market. So I wanted to. So if someone's looking at it and they look at it, it looks fun, but when they read it, like, oh, this is pretty cool, right? So I'd like to have that response, especially those first couple of pages.
Right. Do you feel like, because you mentioned too, is that like that Gorf that's like your very first character that you made? I know you're not supposed to have favorite children, but do you feel like you're giving a lot more attention to Cosmic Wars than you do with Duty now?
Definitely now, because when I pulled Gorf out, and in fact, I'm going to show you what he looked like. This was a clay model I did, and it's on a Polaroid. That's how old it is. Look at this. This is crazy. That's what Gorf looked like, right? That was what he looked like compared to what he looks like now. Look at this. So that was a Polaroid. It's a clay model that I did of Gorf, and so he's been with me forever. Since I was 12 years old. So when I pulled him out the box, it felt like I was reuniting with an old friend. And it reminded me of that time when you get out of school from elementary school, you go home, you do your homework, and your buddy comes with his bicycle, and you get on your bikes and you ride off, and you both have a little pack of juice and you have some chips. And then you get to the park and you sit under a tree and you dream of the universe, and you talk about possibilities and dreams. And that's what it felt like. It felt like I connected with an old friend and we're just catching up.
And how do you translate that excitement and that nostalgia that you have for this character? How do you translate that onto the paper for your readers to get excited about this character as well?
With every scene, making, it's funny, George added value to Gorf because he's a big fan of Gorf. He's been asking me year after year after year, when are you going to prove Gorf? When are you going to release Gorf? And but he did say, when you do your first cover, make sure it's Gorf on the cover. The hero has to always be on the cover, right? And so with that, I really focused on what's that first impression I want just from the cover. It's that table setting, right? It's my mom always said, right? Set the table, and then hopefully the meal, gives everybody, gets their bellies full. And so it starts with the cover, and I wanted that to draw people in. And I've got a lot of great feedback on the covers. And then it's those first few pages that's going to convince them that it was worth opening the book because of the cover. And then hopefully they continue on. So every page complements the story, and hopefully the story complements the art. And that's basically what I'm looking at. It's I spend a lot of time assessing camera angles, viewpoints, vantage points, all those things I'm just looking at to make sure it makes sense. And then at Gorf, I want people to fall in love with him.
Right.
I want, whether they fall in love with Princess Reina or Gorf or Zap, or Whimsy, or if they're rooting for the bad guys, Zarkanar and Zanzarax and Commander Rocks, right? I want them to pick a character, pick a side. And when they do that, then I've successfully accomplished my mission on bringing a story that truly draws in the reader into the universe, and they feel like they're part of it.
Right. Now, so is this going to be an ongoing series, or is this going to be like a finite series for you?
It's going to be an ongoing series. The universe is vast. Right. It's a big undertaking. Forbidden was a big undertaking, but I decided to close off Forbidden in a 160 pages, start to finish. But the way it ends, it lets the reader imagine what's next. Right. And if in the future I wanted to take it on, I took it on. But I decided to just do one big collection, hardcover edition of Forbidden, one and done. With Cosmic Wars, I'd like to. There's a lot of stories I want to tell within the universe. And the fallen hero, which is this chapter of the series, is one part of the story. Right. There's the backstory. Princess Reina has a story. Right. Professor Ramses has a story. Gorf has a backstory, right? So I want to be able. So we're starting from the present, and we're going to work our way back, and then we're going to plug the holes and go towards the future. So it's going to be a journey, and there's a lot of characters within that. So to tell it effectively, I want to give them the time and space they need. So I'm handling it with care.
And do you see other types of mediums that you would use with Gorf? For instance, is there I'm sure your brain is just imagining like either like board games or card games or like other things that you'd love to do with it.
Yes. So I've introduced trading cards. My goal is to create a trading card game. It's very it's a lot of work. Creating a trading card game is a lot of work. So that's taking me time. So what I started to do now is I do booster packs. So on this campaign, there's a starter deck, and then I'm going to build from there. And my goal is multimedia. My goal is a video game, animation, and trading cards game. I want to hit that venue, so I'm trying to appeal to the tabletop role-playing game fans. I'm trying to the retro gamers or the gamers out there. So I want when they see this, they're like, "Oh, that's cool. I want that in my collection," and then hopefully build from there. So this Kickstarter is my first introduction into this new world, this new generation of fans, and hopefully attract comic book readers that weren't interested in comics, and they see this is like this is a different type of comic, and then build from there. So. Time will tell, but yeah, I do have huge aspirations, but I'm tapering myself to try to accomplish one thing at a time.
Right, because nobody's seen this yet. Then, right?
No one's seen it yet. No, they've only seen it in 2003, the original version. So this is the original issue number 0 from 2003 of Cosmic Wars. It is full gloss, mint condition. Look at this. This is original first printing from 2003. So unless you were there in 2003 when I released this and got this at a convention from me or at the New York conventions, comic shops like Forbidden Planet, Midtown Comics, those kind of things. In fact, number 1, because I only released issue 0 and 1 back in 2003, 2004. Number 1 just sold on eBay for $100. And it's listed on Walmart.com for $104, right?
Really?
But I don't see any of the 0 on the market. And so what I'm doing is when we get to $2,000 in the campaign, I'm raffling off one of this. So one lucky winner is going to get a signed 0 from me. And every $1,000 after, I'm going to raffle another one. And so I have the last 10 copies in existence, all in pre-production. And at that time in 2003, my backgrounds were done with 3D programs, and I hand illustrated over the 3D backgrounds. So that was different back then for me. So it was a new way of doing comic books that no one ever seen, and so it was very popular back then. But then I left comics for 10 years, but yeah. So this was the original in 2003.
Wow.
Yes, it's crazy. In 2003, I was also one of the only indies that was doing full color gloss. Back then, indies could only afford ash cans or grayscale. But I had a buddy, I had a hookup, and so we had a guy who gave us it was pennies on the print, and but it meant that we had to fold and staple the books ourselves, and so George and I would sit in the hotel rooms, and we'd fold and staple, and then we put the boxes on it so it could get flat, and that's how we did it back then.
So he's been. So what have you had for characters characters that are in Cosmic Wars now that are new from the first edition?
Whimsy is new. Whimsy's new, and Empress Nani's new. Let's see. Those 2 are the newest ones right now.
Okay.
Oh no, there's also I just introduced him I introduced him on my live feeds. I'll tell you right now. I have so many characters in my head. So Rex and Growl are 2 characters that are also new to the series, and then there is one more that I introduced that you'll find in the book as well. His name is Carnix Vor. So there's several new. They're not on there because they're being introduced for the first time. The only one that you see is Empress Nani there, but Whimsy, Vrax, and Growl and Vornex, they're all going to be in the book, and they play huge parts in the series.
Okay. Huh. That's pretty cool.
That's a time-lapse video of me drawing.
And you got friends of that. You got Lori Calcaterra on there.
Yeah, and Space Monkeys. And so
Space Monkeys. Okay.
Yeah, Space Monkeys. I did a piece to promote Space Monkeys and Gorf. So if 10 people backed Cosmic Wars and those same 10 people backed Space Monkeys, then everybody who backed Cosmic Wars will get a copy of that print.
Right. That's good. So what? So people should then go, Sam, to how will they find that? Do they go to what if people want to find Cosmic Wars? Can they go to your website first?
Cosmic Wars won't be available on my website until the campaign's over.
Right.
So so after the campaign's over, everything gets shipped out in May. So come May, they can pre-order it at the end of this campaign. When the campaign ends, they'll be able to start. I'll start pre-ordering on my website. Because once it ends, then it'll go to printing and all that stuff, and then it'll start getting shipped out.
Okay. All right. But does your website have a link to the Kickstarter?
Yes. So if you go to dutiesworld.com, on the main page, it starts off with Cosmic Wars, and you click on that image, and it'll go straight to the Kickstarter.
And they can kind of follow you and just kind of see how everything's going by going to dutiesworld.com.
Yes, and I had 2 fantastic variant covers, one done by a fantastic illustrator named Lou Pons, and another one by another fantastic illustrator, Marco DeFilio. Marco did Path of the Pale Rider, the original first few issues, and he's done a lot of stuff in the community. So yeah, those are also available on the campaign.
Cool. Excellent. Well, Sam, you don't be a stranger, man. You got to come back on more often. You got to at least get to be on here. You at least got to even out how many times George has been on. So
I know. I got to be on before you buy New York City.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. It was fun.